The other day, I asked Meta AI to tell me a story. I didn't give it any prompts or context for what I was in the mood for. I just wanted to see what it would say. It came up with a short 3-paragraph story about a little girl who found she had magical powers that allowed her to make all sorts of creations with her art come to life. By the end of the story, all was well and life was pretty good for the little girl. She suffered no hardships or loss, no struggles in mastering her powers. It was a bit bland. When I asked Meta AI why it decided on that particular story, it told me that the story was the most widely appealing story to suit a broad audience and create an uplifting feeling by the end. Now, considering apps like Instagram are constantly collecting our data and curating our feeds to push us in a certain direction and interest, I don't think Meta AI had a clue what kind of story to tell a 40-year-old man who makes horror comics. And this is why I think you will always have an advantage over AI-generated art. And it's not just because AI art sometimes gets the hands wrong. Hey, how you doing? It's Dion here. I've been good, but I had to have a little break from work for a while. I am only human, of course, and that means sometimes you've just got to power down and recharge the battery and let the mind detox from the sensory overload of technology. Unlike a computer, of course, that can just keep going and going and going until the fan burns out. For instance, I can't remember the last time I turned my computer off completely. This thing has just been going non-stop for months. Which brings me to a subject that I've wanted to talk about for a while. I'm talking about AI art and why you can't beat AI art at its own game. More specifically, if you're like me using traditional art materials, why I don't think you have to try and beat AI art in order to still make it as an artist. In my opinion, AI art generators are a tool. So I really want to stress that this is not an attack towards AI art or artists. That has been done by people with a way better understanding of the problems that have arisen lately, and they can explain it way better than me. And there are many valid and invalid reasons why it's still going on today. I think the biggest problem that AI art has created is the effect it has had on non-AI artists and their ability to make a living from their art, or at least get noticed for the work they do. AI art is like this new quick and agile creature that just can't quite be contained, and its popularity amongst people who consume art, such as on Instagram, was accepted quickly and widely. The level of output that an AI artist can create using art generators compared to myself being a non-digital artist is enormous. And if the Instagram game is to post frequently and consistently, then AI art wins hands down. Some AI creators can generate dozens of images a day, all with an amazing quality that some of us could only dream of creating if we had the time and hours to spare. Can you imagine churning out your full color images with paints and brushes at a similar rate? I think I'd have an aneurysm if I tried. The flow-on effect for those creators was that platforms like Instagram have rewarded them for the consistent and frequent uploading of content. It's all about the engagement, isn't it? And that, of course, plays into the algorithm, gets more likes, shares, and comments for those artists. Comments, both good and bad, are engagement, so the algorithm keeps promoting it, usually leaving the non-AI artwork to get overlooked at the bottom of the feed. Maybe every now and again we'll get our work seen, but the amount of work that gets added to the feed will always keep piling on top, pushing us further down the feed. It always has. And now AI art has only amplified that. If we were all scrambling like crabs in a bucket before, now there are only more crabs. Faster crabs, bigger crabs, robotic crabs, pulling each other down, trying to get to the top. But enough about crabs. This is meant to be a more positive look at our work and why I think we have a bit of an advantage over AI-generated artwork. As I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, I asked Meta AI to tell me a story. And in my opinion, it wasn't a good story. It was bland. The characters weren't relatable to me and it had no real emotion. If you can, try it out for yourself. Ask Meta to tell you a story without any context and see what you get. Because this is where I think we have the advantage over AI art. AI art generators are just a tool to make the art. Without human input, they can't do anything. The real art comes from the creator. It doesn't matter how you as a creator make the work or how well you execute the idea. As a human, it is always going to have something about it which is relatable to another human. For instance, early on in my illustration career, I would try and emulate the work of Alex Ross. His style and look to his characters was exactly where I wanted to go with my work. But I spent so much time focusing on making my art look like his, and using the same processes, tools, and techniques he used, that it sucked all the things out of my work that actually make his work so eye-catching and relatable to the viewer. Now as a creator, focusing more on my own artwork and my own style, I'm able to focus more on the story to tell. Even the imperfections in my art make it unique and add to the story. I'm probably going to resonate with a smaller audience of readers than Alex Ross because of this, but they're going to be readers who really enjoy what I'm doing. And your own work will have this quality too. Your imperfections, style, and the way you draw faces, hands, hair won't be the most widely appealing and therefore bland to a broader audience. Instead, it will be eye-catching and engaging to a smaller group of viewers who will love the way you make your art. Because your work is unique, and it also has those specific qualities and styles in there that are unique to your work. You two are going to find a nice audience who will really relate to what you do. Without the right creator behind it, an AI art generator will spit out thousands of creations that might look fantastic on the surface, but what use is that artwork if it has no story, no life, and is just bland? As I was saying before, I felt that the story about the little girl who could bring to life her art creations wasn't very interesting to me. Even when I asked Meta to redo the story, add more empathy and interest, it still felt boring. It still needs a human to help guide it to the final and best result. I guess what I'm trying to say is that AI generators are taking the art world by storm at the moment, but they are just a tool for creating art. It's the end result that matters the most. It doesn't matter how you make it. They thought traditional illustration would be dead because of photography, but it's still here. They thought paints and brushes would be out because of Photoshop, Procreate, and Illustrator, but they're still here. And now AI art is taking the internet by storm. But if the aim is to create thousands of images in a short space of time, each one similar to the next, with a few composition changes, then sure, AI wins. But if the creator isn't willing to go back in and fix those imperfections to the eyes, hair, and hands, then the audience is going to notice. It would be like George Lucas not bothering to remove the green screen in Star Wars and expecting us to just accept it as it is. People want beautiful art that speaks to them. They need it, and they don't care how it is made. You as a creator already show that love and attention to each piece you make because you don't just look at it as a creator, but you see it from the point of view of the audience. You'll always sweat over the little details, correct your mistakes. You know when something is not right and when it doesn't work. You may not be the fastest artist or even the best artist, but the love and attention you put into your work will always make it the most exciting, engaging, and entertaining work you've ever done. Never bland. I hope this video was useful to anyone out there that thinks they have to try and compete with the speed or quality of AI art. That should never be our goal as artists. It is hard to not compare ourselves to others' work, especially when that other work gets way more attention or is pushed in our faces daily. But I don't want you to ever give up on your idea because of those outer influences. You've still got great things to create, and I look forward to seeing them when you do. Let's talk soon.